With Valorant Ranked finally out by the time this video is up, from the time in the beta, when I streamed, or in some DMs, I often got messages or comments about solo queuing in Valorant, such as this. And the answer you're looking for is to eat a lot of bacon. I'd probably say my number one tip I always respond with is to focus on the process and not the end goal. Let me elaborate. Let's say you have a picture, and on the center of the picture is your goal of hitting, let's say, diamond, for example. Look how crystal clear that goal is, already within your grasp. But wait, everything else in this picture is blurry. We need to take a step back in order to see the rest of the picture and see the necessary elements it takes to get there in the first place. There's always something you can work on to make yourself individually better and increase your impact on a single game. By focusing on the bigger picture, what comes in the center will be natural and automatic, and by enjoying this process, you can attain it much easier. Before we get into the rest of the video, I want to make a disclaimer that I am not a pro Valorant player, and not all the information will be 100% correct. However, I have a lot of competitive history and solo queue history coming from other games, and I wanted to make this video to discuss some of the things I've learned and some of the mistakes I've made in the past. This video is not only meant to help you make the most out of solo queue, but it's also a video that I can use for myself. Nobody is perfect, and I myself have plenty of room to grow. So what can we improve upon to better ourselves in ranked solo queue? Number 1. Do not tilt your team. I'm no angel. However, one thing I've learned is not to be that passive-aggressive dude that backseats players when he's dead. This is one of the worst things you can do. Not only is it distracting and annoys the shit out of people, it also makes them second-guess their decisions in the moment and make their decision-making slower in a game where every millisecond matters. I'm not saying you have to be a beacon of positivity, but most people in solo queue have a common goal of wanting to win, and you should respect your teammates enough to work towards this goal. It's best not to argue about something so trivial just to satisfy your own ego. You may not like all of your teammates, but putting aside the ego to achieve a common goal is necessary. And this can carry over to future games, especially in higher ranks. You tend to see a lot of the same players, and if you both go into the game hating each other off the bat, well, you're gonna be in for a bad time. Why beef when you could pork? All you should care about is your own self-improvement and not worry about other people. Remember that everyone's process to self-improvement will be different and not perfectly align with each other at all times. Number 2, perfect your aim. A lot of the people that ask me about method of solo queuing or how solo queuing is near impossible I've noticed are in the lower ranks. Now granted, there are plenty of things to learn about game sense and using your brain in this game, however you can simply out-aim a lot of players up to at least Immortal. If you can compare elements of gameplay to a pyramid, then gunfight mechanics are at the base of the pyramid in which all other aspects are built upon, and the wider your base is, the taller your potential pyramid can be. Valorant has a great tool to perfect your aim in the firing range by forcing yourself to train for situations that don't come up frequently enough just by playing the game, allowing you to gain that muscle memory much faster. Number 3, communication and leadership skills. Everyone has been in games where nobody talks and the game isn't going well, and it's probably one of the most frustrating things to experience. If you're the guy who does the talking, what happens often is other people start talking as well, and start to relay more information. Let's say you're playing on defense and you want to change up your position. Try asking the guy who's been playing there what the enemy has been doing, or what patterns he's been seeing his opponents make. This way you aren't going in blindly, and you're warming up your teammates to talk for the rest of the match. Always be relaying information to your team even when your teammates are not. Where your opponents are, what utility they've used, what plays you want to make, or if you want to make a play happen but need someone else's tools, ask that guy to smoke, flash, or blind for you, or whatever you need to make the play happen. This also carries over to when you're dead. If you're spectating someone, you can relay positional information to the rest of your team. Just remember not to backseat game or I will come to your house and steal all of your bacon. Number 4, find ways to be useful when you aren't playing your best. Just because your aim is off and you aren't top fragging doesn't mean you can't be one of the most impactful players in that game. Using concepts we went over in the last tip, communication is key. Not confident in your gun skill in a particular moment on defense? Give up the sight and play for a retake. Slow down your opponent as much as possible with utilities so your teammates have more time to rotate. Your utility can be essential for setting up other teammates that might be helping them pop off that game. Likewise, on offense, make use of your utility as best as possible and be that essential rock for your team. Trade for your entry and relay as much necessary information as you can. On a losing streak, tilting is a very real performance decreaser, and often it can make you focus on the wrong spots of the bigger picture as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Take a break. Want to keep playing? Hit the firing range, turn on some music, and hit some bots for a while. You can also try reviewing your own footage. One of the best things you can do for self-improvement is watching your own gameplay. Crosshair placement off? Boom, check. Clearing angles getting sloppy? Bam. Peeking into multiplayers at once? Bang. Next. Part of the learning process is transforming unconscious incompetence into conscious competence. Realizing what you're doing wrong is the first step to improving that element of your gameplay in the first place. It may feel weird actively thinking about what you're doing, and you may regress as a result of it due to slower paced decision making, but once you fix that aspect and turn it into an unconscious thing, you will all of a sudden have a burst of increased performance and can properly improve off of that. Remember that not every game will feel winnable. Sometimes the matchmaking just put you into an unfair game. Or the odds are fair, but everyone on the team is just having a bad game. But you can make it as close and interesting as possible, and honestly, you can even win those unwinnable games. As long as you come out of any game having learned something from it, then even the games you lose are not a waste of time. If you take every match and self-reflect on some way you could have played something differently, or pinpoint what your shortcomings are, as small as they may have been in that game, the process can become much more enjoyable because learning is fun. And when you start worrying about yourself instead of random teammates, all of a sudden these people become less of a pain in the ass to play with. By working on the concepts that I explained throughout this video, you can become a high-impact player in almost every game and climb over time. That's the key concept, over time. Remember that you will not win every game, but if you are consistently the most impactful player on the game, you will climb over time. Hence the point of focusing on the process and not the end goal. That about wraps things up here. Hope this helps. If you need help improving, want that second pair of eyes, and get some coaching done, join the Discord. I'll have a VOD review section open for submissions to Twitch subscribers on weekends in the future soon. That being said, once again, this is moepork. Stay tuned for more videos, and until then, see you next time.